It has to be exhausting to be a Reds fan. Another lopsided loss. What is going on? Mo Egger will help us make sense of it. Plus,
they'll find out real quick if they didn't know before of what I'm capable of.
A former light heavyweight champion is hoping to chart a new path in a new division. We'll tell you why Jon Jones is stopping through the Queen City to help him get back into the octagon. And victory is sweet. Welcome to the winner's circle, FC Cincinnati. Can the club keep it up? We'll ask Laurel Fadler.
From WCPO 9 Sports, this is Sports of All Sorts.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. I'm Reggie Wilson. Topsy-turvy week in Cincinnati pro sports. After dazzling fans in the home opener, even in a loss, FC Cincinnati is now into the win column in 2021. We'll talk about the orange and blue more in just a bit, but let's get started on the diamond. The Reds got back to 500 last Sunday, then spent the week getting flat out worked by San Francisco, outscored 33-9 in 4 games. But a new series brought new life, or so we thought after Friday night. Reds trying to win the rubber match over Milwaukee. Luis Castillo on the mound, and he is struggling. Already 3-0 Brew Crew. Avisel Garcia smacks a 2-run home run to make it 5-0. Castillo goes 5 and gives up 5 earned, ERA well over 7 this season. But I interrupt the bad pitching with a wink and a slam. Jesse Winker hits the bomb off the power stacks. 5 homers in this series, 13 this season. Reds down 5-1, adding on in the 5th inning. Maybe another hitter just as hot, Nick Castellanos. Double off the wall, scores Shogo. It's a 3-run game. He's not done. 9th inning now, down 7. Blastianos, 2-run shot, his 13th this season, but it's not enough. Brewers win 9-4. Reds go 1-6 during the homestand.
There is a level of confidence from going through things like this before that, that we can, we can count on. We have an off day tomorrow, going on another big road trip. So it'll be a good day to reset, rejuvenate, and come out and do everything we can to have a great road trip.
All right, this is now a therapy session, all right? My first guest is friend of the program, Mo Egger. Hear him every day on radio airwaves on ESPN 1530. How you doing, Mo?
If you're coming to me for therapy, that's a problem.
This is a therapy session for you. The Reds lose 6 of the last 7
great.
games. So what's your reaction to this rough week that has been?
As long as the pitching continues to be as bad as it's been, these are the results we're going to get. And over the last 3 weeks, I mean, go back to May the 2nd when they won the game 13-12. Since then, we've seen them give up 9 runs and a loss. We've seen them give up 9 runs and a loss, 7 runs and a loss, 13 runs and a loss, 9 runs and a loss, 19 runs and a loss.
Yikes.
9 more today. I mean, it's the biggest issue this team has. It's starting pitching, it's relief pitching. These problems are exacerbated by the fact that Luis Castillo, who I think we thought maybe he turned the corner with his start against the Giants earlier this week. He turned into a pumpkin today. He hasn't been very good. His bad start to the season has turned into a bad season. And look, the back end of the rotation, they're relying on dudes like Jeff Hoffman. Now Wade Miley's hurt. Look at the bullpen. You get what you pay for. They went cheap with the bullpen. The bullpen has been a revolving door of dudes that either are guys who wouldn't make other teams or guys that wouldn't be on good teams or guys that won't be on this team in a couple of weeks. As long as the pitching continues to be what it's been over the last 3 weeks, and really for the most part over the course of the first nearly 2 months of the season, the results aren't going to improve substantially. It's great that Jesse Winker's having an awesome year. It's great that Nick Castellanos is having a great year. It's great that Tyler Naquin has been a revelation. But the reality is this team's pitching is a shell of what it was last season, and this team is getting shelled way too frequently, including this afternoon against the Brewers.
Ooh. And you mentioned Luis Castillo. I saw your tweet earlier today. You were saying that you miss him. He's given up 3 or more earned runs in all but 2 of his starts this season. What needs to happen with him?
Well, he's got to do a better job of putting away hitters. It's remarkable. And I read the numbers on the air before the San Francisco start that it was remarkable how well hitters are doing against Luis Castillo after they have 2 strikes on them. They're not going to send him down. They're not going to skip a start. What other options do you have right now? And before you yell at me, TJ Antone, okay, fine. Well, then who's going to come out of the bullpen?
Yeah.
Chances are it's not going to be Luis Castillo. So he simply has to pitch better. And this franchise has made Derek Johnson, the pitching coach, a central figure because he's regarded, and understandably so, as a great pitching coach. Fantastic. Derek Johnson has to fix Luis Castillo. And if he doesn't get him fixed, no matter what you do with him, if you take him out of the rotation, if you put him in the bullpen, if you send him to Louisville, no matter what you do, you're not winning this division without Luis Castillo giving this team a high percentage of his starts being very, very good. So it's got to be figured out, and it's got to be figured out quick.
Well, it's been a week since I've asked you about this, but has your mind changed or stayed the same on what the team outlook is moving forward?
Squandering a chance to win a bunch of games at home. The schedule got tougher. They couldn't take advantage last week against the Colorado Rockies. I still feel like this team is going to spend most of the season somewhere between 3 and 5 or 5.5 games out of first place, or 3 and 6 games out of first place until the pitching gets any better. I think this team top to bottom is okay, but okay is not going to cut it, even in this division. I have a hard time believing this team can get to 88 or 90 wins the way they're currently constructed. And let's face it, as much as we're going to talk about what they might do at the trade deadline, that's still more than 2 months away.
All right, Mo. Well, this therapy session is now over. I hope you feel better, but I have a slight feeling that you don't.
Next time, let's have some alcohol. I'm drinking water here. If we have to do this every single week, I mean, can I have something strong?
Okay. All right, what you like?
Anything cold and anything you're buying.
All right, well, we'll work on that, and a cigar for you, my friend, so you can enjoy, because I know that it's been a long week for you and a lot of Reds fans. But I appreciate you talking it out with me tonight.
It's always fun, Reggie. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, if you follow mixed martial arts, chances are you've heard the name Jon Bones Jones. He's a UFC legend, and he's hungry. Coming up, the former world champion explains why Cincinnati is the perfect spot for him to get back into top form. Welcome back. Some of the best athletes to ever compete have come through Cincinnati during their careers, and now you can add a superstar fighter to the growing list. When you walk into Beat Personal Training in Blue Ash, you find a little bit of everybody.
Soccer moms, dad bods, high school athletes. We have a number of state champion wrestlers here.
And on this day, even a former UFC world champion. Jon Jones is training for his next fight and just happened to speed his way right here in Cincinnati to get some work in.
Matt's been raving about his gym here in Cincinnati, and I just thought I'd come out here and give it a try.
Jones became a household name after beating some of the top MMA fighters in the world.
Jon Jones has done it!
He reached out to Sycamore grad and trainer Matt Wiedemer in March, and it's been full speed ahead.
The really neat thing about him is he's got a lot of untapped potential. So as decorated as he is, he's undefeated. He's been light heavyweight champion for over 10 years now. He's considered the greatest mixed martial artist in the history of the sport. And I still think there's a lot he can add to his repertoire.
After more than a decade competing in the light heavyweight division, Jones is adding 60 pounds to his frame to move up to the heavyweight ranks. He's doing a lot more running to maintain his athleticism.
One of Matt's specialties is making you faster. And so we're doing a lot of overspeed treadmill work.
Making sure that he gains weight but doesn't lose his speed. If anything, he's gaining speed.
A contract dispute with the UFC is slowing down progress on the next fight. And as time passes, Jones is in his bag to prove he's still the best.
I feel like the UFC is kind of a what have you done for me lately type of sport, and we have a lot of new fans who may not be as familiar with my work. All that will change when I get back in there, for sure. They'll find out real quick if they didn't know before of what I'm capable of.
Jones likened his next challenge to climbing Mount Everest.
Whether Francis Ngannou has the belt, Derek Lewis, Stipe Miocic, eventually I'll beat all of them. I just want that belt.
And the journey there passes through the Queen City. All right, let's go back to Saturday. FC Cincinnati taking on CF Montreal, aiming for the first dub of the season. Pick it up in the second half, down 1-0. Jurgen Locadia changes that. Last season's big-ticket acquisition slow to get going, but he heads one in the 70th minute for his third goal with the club, ties the match at 1. So can you feel the vibes? 86th minute now. All about the noggin on Saturday. Gustavo Vallecilla with the beautiful header for his first goal of the season to give FCC the lead. And guess what? They hold on for the first win of the season, 2-1. FC Cincinnati is now 3-0 against Montreal, 1-3-1 in 2021.
Even in difficult circumstances, you get sometimes what you want, and that's 3 points. And it's, I think, very good for the team, for the players in this process to get these points, because that gives us an extra boost in where we want to go to.
I'm happy for the team, for the club, happy for the people involved in the club, and it's been a crazy game today. I think they created a lot of opportunities in the first half, and we got lucky. At the end of the day, we won the game, and that's important for us, for Cincinnati.
All right, joining me to talk FC Cincinnati is beat writer Laurel Pfahler with the Queen City Press. Laurel, thanks so much for taking the time. Finally, a win. How about that?
Yeah, it's a big one for them. I believe it's their first time coming from behind to get a win in MLS. So we haven't seen that before. Last week, they were down 2-0, came back and scored the equalizer. And, everyone was thinking, oh, we're going to get a point out of this. And then they give up the late goal and lose. So this one, they come back from being down 1-0 and equalize in the 70th minute, and then got the game winner in the 86th minute and held on to it. So big win for them on the road.
Let's talk about Jurgen Locadia. Prized acquisition last year, really hasn't produced like he was brought in to do. Only so much time left on his loan. Gets the goal yesterday. How good did that feel for him?
Yeah, he's got 4 matches left before the end of his loan. So I think that's been kind of in his head. He says he's not thinking about it, but unless he's having these conversations behind closed doors with management or with Brighton and, has an idea what's going to happen already, we're not aware of it. That's a lot of pressure on a player who really hasn't shown what he was brought here to do, which is score goals. So he looked kind of free. I know they've had, some new offensive players come in that make him a little more comfortable. Coming off the bench, maybe it's just he doesn't feel that pressure of having to be the guy. So maybe that's starting to help him out as well. But, he scored the equalizer on a head ball off a corner kick that Jeff Cameron kind of sent his way on another header, and then just flicked it in. It was a nice goal. But then after that, he was a big part of just creating some chances. They almost had another goal a few minutes later, and he just looked active. So I think he is starting to show a little bit more. We always saw the ability. He wasn't putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's what they need to see out of a player that they're going to be paying that as much as they would be paying for him.
Finally, Laurel, back-to-back games with multiple goals after going scoreless in the last 2 matches to finally get a W. Have you seen enough to think this club can turn things in the right direction?
Yeah, I think the only thing we need to see, right now they're scoring off set pieces. Both goals today came off either a corner kick or a free kick. Nick Hagland's goal last week came off a corner kick as well. And so Jaap Stam was asked today, well, how are you going to start scoring from open play? So we're seeing some more opportunities. I think that as the goals are starting to come in, that's just giving them a little more confidence, especially a team that only scored 12 goals last year and was always playing from behind. It seemed like such a mental roadblock for them. They couldn't feel the reward from their efforts. And now they are seeing that. And, a lot of people just keep thinking that this is going to lead to more goals. And now we're starting to see it. So hopefully that's continuing going forward.
Laurel, always appreciate your insight. We'll catch up again soon.
Thanks for having me. Always good to talk to you.
So I want to hear from you. After picking up win number 1 this weekend, what are your expectations for FC Cincinnati the rest of the season? Tweet me at Reggie Wilson TV and make sure to use the hashtag SOAS. Coming up, a Williamsburg softball pitcher is having a memorable senior year. How she's finding success on and off the field after surviving a scary accident. Welcome back. Williamsburg High School senior Maddie Ogden is one of Ohio's top softball players this season. Reporter Mike Dyer explains how much this sport means to her now after she survived a terrifying accident.
Williamsburg High School senior pitcher Maddie Ogden approaches every game like it could be perfect, even if it doesn't work out like that.
The first walk, I always am like, all right, well, you know what? Now I want it to be a no-hitter. And if I give up a hit, then I think, okay, this needs to be a shutout. So you just set goals for yourself. And I think that's really what has pushed me and helped me succeed this year.
Ogden has had plenty of success. The state's all-time single-season hits leader has thrown 11 no-hitters this spring, including 5 perfect games. She is signed to play softball at Morehead State University.
She's the fire. She is by far. The kids look to her, and just as in the 2017, the kids looked at Carly Wagers. So they look at her and to her for that leadership.
But those who know Ogden understand her success is happening after a difficult journey.
I'm probably just most proud of the fact that I did go through all I went through as a 13-year-old. And I've just pushed myself to get to where I'm at because, you know, I wasn't sure if I'd play softball, you know.
Ogden was a passenger in a severe car accident in August 2016. She underwent brain surgery that day and then pelvic surgery a week later. She was in the hospital for 22 days, and doctors wondered if she would ever walk or run again.
A lot of people forgot about it, to be honest, and sometimes people would just be like, I totally forgot about that, but that just makes it even more amazing, all the things that you have done.
Nearly 5 years later, Ogden is preparing to play NCAA Division I softball. She has a 4.0 grade point average and has received accolades in volleyball and basketball too. Her perseverance is still never in doubt.
The thing with her, and she's such an athlete, and she comes from a great family, but is her example that if you push and you work, as she told you, then really, really good things can happen.
Mike Dyer, WCPO 9 Sports.
Awesome. You just heard the voice of my next guest, WCPO high school insider Mike Dyer. Mike, always appreciate the time. Great story. How did this one come about?
Hey, Reggie, when you're talking about Maddie Ogden, this is a story that goes back to 2019, actually. And she became the OHSA's all-time single-season hits leader. She had 77 hits, believe it or not, in that season. And, started to ask some questions of the coach there, Rick Healy, who's also the school's athletic director, and then come to find out the story of Maddie being in a severe car accident in August of 2016 when she was just 13 years old. She had brain surgery that same day and then pelvic surgery a week later, and she ended up being in the hospital for 22 days. And doctors wondered if she would ever walk, let alone run again. And so just an inspirational journey of her rehabbing and just doing an amazing comeback of sorts to be in that position again back in 2019. And then here we are 2 years later. Everybody knows about the 2020 season being canceled, obviously due to the pandemic, but she has just been absolutely brilliant for their team, an undefeated team right now.
You mentioned the car crash. It's miraculous that she's even back on the field, let alone dominating like she is, one of the best players in our area. How did this all come together for her?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to her family. Her parents mentioned just all the doctors at the hospital, and they give credit to a lot of the medical staff that really helped her back. But I've seen some of the videos of Maddie, throwing a softball when she was sitting down, just walking to the basketball hoop. Reggie, I don't know if a lot of people know, she is a basketball and volleyball standout as well there at Williamsburg, and earned honorable mention All-State in basketball this past winter. So I asked her when I talked to Maddie a couple weeks ago, I said, how did you do this? How did you find that determination, that inspiration? And, I kept hearing the word miracle, as you mentioned there, multiple times from her coach, from her family. And, she just said, I just wanted to be out there. I had a dedication to the sport. And she thought that, this was something she dreamed about, playing NCAA Division I college softball since she was very little, and ended up signing with Morehead State University. And, this is something that she wanted to fulfill and have a memorable high school career. And lo and behold, she's doing everything like that and beyond. She's a Max Preps National Player of the Year candidate right now, and just an unbelievable to see her climb the state record book, as it were, in all these different categories as a pitcher this senior season.
Mike, great story. Thanks for all you do. Always enjoy having you on. Take care until we catch up again.
Sounds great. Thanks for the opportunity, Reggie.
All right, we'll be right back to wrap up the show. Welcome back. Well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, but we got to go. I'd like to thank my guests Mo Egger, Laurel Phaler, and Mike Dyer for joining me tonight. And thank you to my village who helped me put this all together. Thank you for watching. Let's do it again next Sunday. Until then, have a good night and a very blessed week.